Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Brothers channel, and this is my performance review of the Nike Precision 5. So the Precision line has been phenomenal. The Precision 3 and the Precision 4 have been really nice performers by Nike, and of course this is the brand new version of the Precision because the Precision 3 and the Precision 4, I mean, for the budget models, Nike usually keeps like the midsole and the outsole the same, but for the Precision 5 it's kind of like a redesign, so it's completely new. The outsole and the midsole and the upper is pretty much like a new design. And the shoe is only 70 bucks guys, super duper cheap. So if you guys do want to cop, I'll leave a link in the description box. But let's get it started off with the tracciones, right? So the traction is really good. I was playing on an outdoor court and it had a very solid bite, very consistent as well. But besides when I was doing a really hard lateral movement, it would slide out just a little bit sometimes. But for the most part, it was really good. I had no problems with it. And then I was playing on an indoor court, kind of not really playing. Like the basketball court at my gym is open, so we can go inside, but it's like only for working out. We can't play ball, which doesn't really make any sense. But yeah, so it's not a full performance review, so take it with a grain of salt. But I am testing like all the shoes on the indoor court a little bit. It is really dusty and dirty in there though. So as far as the performance on dust, it did pick up a little bit of dust and I did have to wipe frequently, but once I wiped, the bite is actually really good. So if you're playing on a really clean court, you should be fine. Dusty setting, just remember you're gonna have to wipe. And on the outdoor court, you should be fine. Also for durability though, right? So if you must know, on the outsole, right? When you're playing ball, the high wear area is where the ball of your foot is, right here, pretty much right here, and also kind of like on the side. And then here in the heel, more on the lateral side most of the time, but it's pretty much at the edge of the heel. So those are the high wear areas, right? And that's where you're gonna put a lot of contact, a lot of force, and that's where you need the outsole to be very durable. But they put the nubs where the high wear area is, which makes no sense to me. And then the more durable part, this herringbone, is on the lateral side, which is not as high wear, So yeah, I was playing on outdoor court and the nubs are ripping off and the durability is looking pretty bad. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's not as bad as I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was just I was gonna eat through it. So that's good, but still, I mean, if you're gonna play on an outdoor court, it's probably not the best option. But I guess this shoe is super cheap, 70 bucks, and it'll probably go on sale, so maybe like 40 or 50 bucks. So I mean, because of the price, it should be okay, but just don't expect the outsole to last like super long on an outdoor court. But for the most part, the performance of the traction was good. I had no problems and I enjoyed it. Alright, moving on to the heel to toe transition. So super smooth, as you guys can see, we have a crazy curve shape here in the heel. It rounds up a lot. And then here in the forefoot, we have a good amount of curve as well. And we have a lot of forefoot flex. Look at that. So much forefoot flex. So it just feels super smooth when you're running on the court and feels very fluid. I had no issues with it feeling clunky or anything. So that's a nice little bonus. For me personally, I like to have a very smooth heel to toe transition. I know a good amount of people don't really care about it, but I do, so there's that. All right, moving on to the cushion. So like I mentioned, or I keep mentioning, it's a $70 shoe, right? So it's a very cheap shoe. It's a kind of like the lowest tier shoe that you can get from Nike for basketball. And if it's the cheapest shoe that you can get from Nike, they're not going to put a lot of tech into it, right? So there's no zoom, there's no fancy foam. It's not Lunarlon or React or Coachlon or anything, which sucks. But I guess it's kind of soft for. I'm guessing it's Phylon, right? On the website, it just says it's a resilient foam. So cool, right? But here in the heel, we have a little bit of compression. I wouldn't say it's as bad as like the Kyrie 2 or the Kyrie 3, but it's still not great. So yeah, the heel compression is right? And then here in the forefoot is pretty much stiff. There's not a whole lot going on underneath your foot. So underfoot cushioning also isn't that comfortable. And then with the insole is like a regular Ortholite insole with no graphic on it because you're trying to save on money because it's only 70 bucks, right? So impact protection, not the best, especially here in the heel. And I was playing on outdoor court, right? So I feel like if I was playing on indoor court, I wouldn't be as harsh, but I was playing on outdoor court and my feet did hurt a little bit while I was playing in the shoe. So yeah, I guess a good thing about the cushioning setup though is that it's very low to the ground and it's a super responsive cushioning setup. So if you want to feel fast, you don't want to feel any type of lag or compression in your cushion, then this is a great option. But if you're expecting something from this cushioning for some reason, I don't know why you would, but if you did, don't expect a lot. There's not a lot of compression. There's no bounce really at all or anything, right? So it's not super comfortable either. So there's your cushioning setup there. It's just right? All right, moving on to the materials. The materials are definitely my favorite part about this shoe. So we have a very, very nice textile material and I love it, right? It's super thin, but also very soft and very comfortable on foot. It almost feels a little cozy, kind of like a knit. And I don't know how they got this right on the $70 shoe, and then they give us shoes like the PG5, which has really, really crappy materials. I mean, it's really thin and it doesn't like feel terrible on foot, but like, come on, man. It's the PGs. It's Paul George's shoe. It's a signature shoe and it's way more expensive than a $70 shoe, which this material is great. I love it. And it stays pretty much really, really thin all the way up until the ankle area. And also the ankle area has very minimal padding as well. And so does the tongue. The tongue has really minimal padding too. So when you put the shoe on, it just feels really thin, very minimal as well. But like I mentioned, it's comfortable and also is a little like cozy. You know what I'm saying? There are some cheap touches to the materials, like the fuse here in the toe box doesn't feel great, and also this like synthetic material around the ankle area doesn't feel great, and then also the lining material doesn't feel great, but you know, those are negligible. And obviously the most important part about the material here is in the toe box, right? So that feels great. I love it. Moving on to the fit. The fit is phenomenal for me as well. So I went true to size and it's a really snug fitting shoe, right? So here in the toe box, super snug, pretty narrow as well. And like I said, true to size is perfect for me. And if you have a normal size foot or even like a slightly narrow foot and you like to have a snug fit, you should be fine going true to size. If you have a wide foot or you like to have a roomier fit in your shoes, I would suggest going up half a size or maybe even a full size. It's not as tight of a fit as like the KD13 or the Kyrie 7 though. It's still snug, but just not as tight as those shoes. So if you thought the KD13 was like a little too tight, then you should be fine in Precision 5. Also, it's super easy to put on, you know, like most basketball shoes have nowadays. It has a heel tab, which acts kind of like a mini shoehorn and also makes the shoe just a tiny bit easier to put on, which I really like. All right, moving on to the support and lockdown. Support and lockdown is good. You know, I had no issues with lateral containment. As you guys can see here in the forefoot, we do have the foam coming up, acting as a side wall. Kind of looks like a shark fin a little bit, right? And here in the heel, we have an internal TPU heel counter, as well as the foam coming up here in the heel, as well as a little bit in the midfoot as well. You know, kind of comes up a little bit higher actually in the midfoot. So I had no issues with lateral containment. And for lateral stability, as you guys can see, we have a very nice sharp outrigger. It's a super wide base, and you know, I had no issues with lateral instability. You know, I didn't feel like I was going to roll my ankle or anything. So support and lockdown, phenomenal. All right, moving on to the weight of the shoe. If I remember correctly, it was like 10.5 ounces. Right, so 9.95 ounces. That is extremely, extremely light. And it feels a little cheap light. You know, cheap light is that feeling where you get from like cheaper shoes because it lacks like tech. So it definitely does feel a little cheap light, but also like not that bad. You know what I'm saying? There's no shit mesh or anything. And also this shoe feels very responsive, right? So the traction was solid. Support's good. Fit was really good for me as well. And like I mentioned before, the cushion, if it's a very responsive cushion, there's not a whole lot of compression or lag or anything. So you just feel super light on your feet. The material, like I mentioned, is very, very thin, very minimal on foot. So it just feels like an extension of your foot. It feels phenomenal. And yeah, when you play with this shoe, you just feel really quick and very, very fast. All right, moving on to the ventilation, it's okay. You know, there's really no airflow, right? Just a tiny bit, I would say, but it's pretty negligible. But like I mentioned before, this material is pretty thin, so it doesn't retain heat very well, which is a good thing. So ventilation, I would say, is pretty good. All right, moving on to the aesthetics of the shoe, it's great. You know, I think it looks awesome. This triple black colorway, not a huge fan of because I don't like all black shoes, unlike somebody, you know, Donny Boy. But there are some pretty cool colorways that have come out. You know, there's like a bread colorway and then a black and white colorway, which I think look pretty sick. And also on foot, it looks nice. It doesn't look that cheap either. You know, like the materials, like I said, look pretty quality. and the overall silhouette looks good. So tell us what you guys think of these settings down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, the Precision 5 is a banger, guys, especially for 70 bucks. If this shoe was like 110, 120 bucks, I'd still say get it because it performs extremely well. The only thing that's lacking in the shoe is the cushion, and it's not that bad. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I wish they would add like a little zoom unit here in the forefoot, or maybe even here in the heel. Or not only that, you know, you don't have to use zoom. Maybe Renew. You know what I'm saying? Like the Renew Elevate, you know what I'm saying? Or maybe like the KD Tray 5.8 or the KD Tray 5.9 with the Renew. Or I guess the KD Tray 5.9 has a Renew and then the forefoot zoom unit. But anyways, yeah, so just Renew foam would have been better, you know, than this Phylon. But other than that, I mean, the traction was phenomenal. The materials are great, supports there, fits awesome. So yeah, I mean, I would say it's a really good guard shoe. Like if you're looking for a cheap shoe that you can kind of just beat up, but also performs really well, and you want to feel super light on your feet and very quick and very responsive, this is a phenomenal option. I would say it's borderline, it feels kind of like the Curry 8. Just not as nice, you know what I'm saying? But it's like way cheaper. The Curry 8 is like, what, 160 bucks? 150 bucks, something like that. It's like less than half the price of that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, the Precision 5 or the Precision line keeps going strong. Solid performer for a really good price. So yeah, that about wraps up this review. Again, if you guys do want to cop, I'll leave a link in the description box, and I heavily recommend that you do if you want a good performer for a very good price. But anyways, that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.